So hey guys, Batober day 4, which is the prompt for today is light. Chris Samney's Batober, and my mind went straight to Green Lantern's light from the oath and everything. But my initial approach was that I thought at first I could draw maybe like Alan Scott, because he's the first Green Lantern, he's the original Green Lantern, and so it's his light that sort of started off everything. Eventually they wrote about Hal Jordan and the rest of the Green Lantern Corps, and I was also going to include like Simon Baz alongside him. I thought that'd be interesting, the first Green Lantern and then the latest, and then a few other Green Lanterns at the back. I thought that'd be quite interesting, but so I was sort of overcrowding the drawing, so I thought, nah, let me change up that idea, go for something else completely different. And I still wanted to stick with the idea of Green Lantern's light. So here it's just me trying to sketch something out, and nothing was working. And then initially I thought, let's just keep it simple, straightforward again. And I'll just focus on Hal Jordan and John Stewart, and they're just powering up or something, after they said the oath and they just said Green Lantern's light or something like that. And I could have this explosion of light from the power battery. And this time around I thought rather than going straight to black ink, I'd use my sister's colored pen to lay out some initial lines so the light aspect of the drawing works more. Yeah, so it's like when hopefully by the end of the drawing it looks like it's more part of the drawing, and the black ink isn't like the lines for the light aren't sticking out with the black ink, Personally, I think it works by the end, but you'll see. And after that, okay, let's try and add the shadows with the black ink, as in like where would the shadows be when light is coming from a certain direction. And I tried keeping, because I had this little image in mind that this is how I want everything to look by the end. So I was trying to use the pencil lines that I've laid out and use them as guides of streaks that's hitting their body, sort of like Alex Ross's drawing. I think subconsciously that's what I was thinking of. Now that I see the final drawing, I'm like, yes, that's definitely what I was thinking of as I was working on this. Like, I'm a huge Green Lantern fan. He's a character I haven't drawn as much, honestly, over the past couple of years. It's like I've read basically all of Jeff Johns' run. I've read all of it on Green Lantern. There's a few parts I'm missing, his Spectre run and stuff like that. Majority involving Green Lantern, I've read it all. So I made an error there. I wasn't paying attention. I ended up, smudging the ink. It wasn't dry yet, and that's why this isn't how I should have worked. If you're working with inks or anything, I should have worked from John Stewart and work my way down, so this way I'm not going over or smudging anything by accident. I do try and save it, made those parts darker with the colouring, but I'm still trying to keep in mind, not to pressure myself too much. Like, this is Inktober, keep it simple. Even, the little errors I make here and there, I'm like, okay, fine, it's fine. Just get the drawing done. Just because I made an error now, it doesn't mean it's the end of the world or anything. It's like, I can still save the drawing. Even though there's no undo button, I do catch myself trying to zoom in at times whenever I'm drawing. I guess because I do a lot of digital drawing, so at times you're trying to pinch zoom. Now that I use Procreate a lot on the iPad, so yeah, here I am trying to save the smudge, make it not as noticeable. But yeah, there's no undo button, so it's just like, I still think I sort of managed. Like, undo button would have helped, but obviously this is real life. That's not how life works. Otherwise, there's so many things we could have used the undo button in general, so trying to fix certain mistakes and all, but oh well. As you can see, I'm trying to adding layers and layers of light, going from dark to light or light to dark with my colouring. And luckily, because I got the ELO sketchbook last year, the paper's quite thick, so I can continuously work on it, to a certain extent, and not have the ink go through the paper, or the ink rips through the paper or anything. I guess these books are built for marker pens, that's why. But then again, whenever you're using markers, like, I've had quite a few grey markers that I've run out by now, but I used to use them, and they do go through the paper where if you were to flip over, you can see on the other side. But luckily, because these are felt tips, that's not the case. And I don't know, I thought I'd keep this video easy, don't go too much into detail or too heavy the way I tried going with the previous two drawings. And I thought with the first two Batober drawings, I was quite heavy with, like, talking about certain subjects. So I wasn't that heavy, but it's just, looking back, I guess I shouldn't have done that. I feel that I'm demotivating people, but I'm really just trying to help people out and just make sure everyone has fun and they don't put so much pressure on themselves to meet a certain standard. Like, we've all got a certain standard we want to meet, and sometimes it's okay if you don't. Like, don't pressure yourself to meet that standard. You're going to end up meeting that standard anyway. And certain days, you know, it's like it's not going to work out. Other days, it's going to be perfectly fine. And yeah, that's all I want to say. But yeah, the video's ending, so thank you guys. There's a mistake I make here. I didn't even realize until the very end. I have no idea how I ended up making this gray mark all over the drawing, and it's after I, you know, scanned it all in. That's when I noticed, and I tried saving it. I should have recorded that little process, but oh well. Anyway, this is my drawing done for the day. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe, and thank you guys.